Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into the uniquely baffling, sometimes hilarious experience of living with a cat who genuinely believes they are absolute royalty. If you share your home with a feline, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're the one providing the filtered water, the heated blankets, the perfectly timed treats, and yet you're the one apologizing when you accidentally bump into them in the hallway. Somewhere along the line, the dynamic completely flipped. So we're going to unpack the actual psychology behind these spoiled behaviors and reveal a hidden truth. Basically, we're going to tell the story of how your cat is running a highly successful training program, and spoiler alert, you are their star pupil.
Let's just start with the completely relatable absurdity of it all. Why on earth does your cat scream at you when their food bowl is still half full? Not empty, right? Half full. And then, a few minutes later, they flat out refuse to eat that incredibly expensive food you bought just for them, only to strut into the bedroom and claim your freshly folded, clean laundry like they literally hold the deed to the house. It's funny, sure, but it establishes a very clear baseline for our story. Your cat is no longer just surviving in your home. No, they are ruling it. But the signs of this royal status are often hidden right inside tiny, everyday behaviors that we just accidentally reward.
And that brings us to Section 1, Who is training who? Let's take a look at their behavioral patterns. Okay, let's dive into this classic couch scenario. You're sitting there and your cat places one very intentional paw on your arm. You stop petting them for just a split second, their tail gives a little flick, and boom, you automatically start petting them again. What you just experienced is a textbook example of reinforcement learning. This is the idea that behaviors followed by rewards become stronger over time. Your cat is literally studying behavioral science right there in your living room. They are exceptionally good at identifying patterns and figuring out exactly what actions guarantee their maximum comfort. Just look at this hilarious but honestly highly effective sequence. Step 1, the dreaded paw on your face at 4 a.m. Step 2, you wake up totally exhausted and you feed them just to buy yourself a few more hours apiece. Step 3, they get a guaranteed breakfast. It's a perfect system. The feline brain is actively mapping your reactions. If waking you up at dawn successfully results in a meal, their brain locks that in. They are actively training you to provide an upgraded experience every single day. And this brilliantly illustrates the fundamental psychological shift that's happened. If we compare them, a wild, survival-driven cat lives in a completely unpredictable world. Their nervous system is constantly on edge, asking, "Can I survive today?" But your spoiled domestic cat, they operate from a place of total abundance. Their nervous system has basically completely dropped the survival question. Instead, it's been replaced with a brand new one. Can this situation become even more comfortable? This abundance mindset is exactly what drives those incredibly specific demands. Moving on to Section 2, the science of feline control and their absolute need for access. I'm sure you've experienced the classic tactics here, demanding a closed door be opened, only to immediately walk away the second you open it, or refusing to drink still water after they've used a fountain just one time. See, cats evolved as highly territorial animals. Having control over movement and environmental access is psychologically vital to them. So when they scream at a closed door and then totally ignore the room once it's opened, it's not a mistake. They are literally testing their training to ensure you'll still make the environment yield to their demands. To them, the feeling of territorial control is the reward itself. And hey, this control absolutely extends to their diet too. Have you ever panicked when your cat suddenly stops eating the food they absolutely loved yesterday? You go out, buy different brands, try different textures, fancy little toppers, and eventually the cat wins. Basically, your cat discovered customer service. Out in the wild, hesitating around food is super dangerous, but a healthy domestic cat in a cozy environment learns that if they just complain a little bit, better alternatives will magically appear. They are playing the ultimate customer service game, and they absolutely know you're the manager. All right, Section 3, Optimizing for maximum comfort and the biological benefits behind it. Think about that classic moment when you stand up from a cozy chair, and literally 2 seconds later, your cat has stolen it. Well, it's not random at all. Let's break down the biology here. The feline brain is this incredibly efficient machine that's constantly optimizing for security and pleasure. They choose warmth because it lowers their metabolic demand. They choose a familiar scent, like the spot you just left, because it lowers their stress. And they choose elevated softness because it maximizes physical comfort. Your chair isn't just a piece of furniture to them. To a highly optimized cat, it is premium, mathematically perfect territory. Which brings us to Section 4, the emotional strategist, and how they are actively managing us humans. We see this strategy play out in these ridiculous daily rituals. Exact bedtime demands, screaming until you sit in their specific chair, or even insisting on supervised bathroom visits like a tiny little security guard. Now, what's really interesting about this is the profound purpose hiding right beneath the humor. Cats actually build emotional stability through predictability. These seemingly absurd routines are actively reducing uncertainty in their brain. When you comply with these rituals, you are reinforcing the structure of their whole world. Which actually leads us to a slightly uncomfortable truth. You are no longer just a person to them. You aren't just an owner. You are the vital machinery they've successfully trained to keep their life comfortable. You provide the emotional predictability they rely on so heavily. This is exactly why, when you leave home for longer than usual, your cat might get extra clingy, offended, or unusually loud when you finally come back. They depend on your reliable presence. They aren't just spoiled by treats, they are completely spoiled by reliability.
And because they rely on you so much, they study you. Your cat is constantly asking, what sound works fastest? What expression works best? The dramatic meow that gets your attention, the sad eyes that produce the treats, that tiny little paw tap that gets an immediate pet. Over time, your cat's brain maps your behavior like this giant, complex puzzle. They are actively managing your emotional responses to guarantee their own comfort. Honestly, they're absolute masters at pulling our strings.
Let's move to Section 5, the ultimate sign of trust, uncovering security and love. Okay, prepare for a bit of a paradigm shift here because everything you think spoiling means might be totally wrong. We often confuse emotional security with behavioral problems, but scientists have actually discovered that domestic cats thriving in enriched, comfortable environments become more socially expressive, more playful, and more vocal. So your demanding, dramatic little cat isn't broken or misbehaving. They are simply feeling safe enough to reveal their full, completely unfiltered personality to you.
You can literally see this confidence in their daily posture, flopping dramatically right in the middle of the hallway, sleeping completely belly up, walking directly in front of your feet without a care in the world, and just showing complete emotional honesty. These exact behaviors are incredibly telling. A fearful, neglected cat stays small, careful, and hidden. They prioritize vigilance above all else. But your spoiled cat? They expand. They occupy space with absolute, unshakable confidence because their nervous system no longer predicts danger.
All of these seemingly impossible standards, the dramatic protests, the absolute insistence on their exact routines, they all grow from this one central, deeply trusting belief. Good things happen here. Think about it. A cat that doesn't trust you would never confidently demand comfort. They wouldn't assume their needs are just going to be met. The very fact that they are comfortable enough to be annoyed or demanding or aggressively affectionate means they have the space in their brain to focus purely on preference rather than survival. And that brings us to the core takeaway of our whole story today. A spoiled cat is a safe cat. That spoiled behavior, it isn't selfish. It's actually the ultimate sign of safety. It's a cat whose nervous system has finally learned that life does not have to feel dangerous anymore. They expect warmth because you've always provided warmth. They expect care because their rigorous training program and your loving compliance with it has taught them to never expect anything less. Having a cat that feels this deeply secure might honestly be one of the most beautiful problems you could possibly have. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought and a question to ponder. What is the most ridiculously spoiled thing your cat does every single day? The next time they scream at a half-full bowl or steal your nice warm chair, take just a second to marvel at their brilliant, calculating little mind. Because chances are, right behind that demanding behavior is a level of deep, unspoken trust that is far more profound than it first appears.